Hello everybody, I'm 8-Bit Steve, and this is another 8-Bit episode of Steve's Quest. This is game number 136, Wacky Races. I don't think I played this game much as a kid, because it came out sort of later in the life cycle, but I definitely watched this cartoon a lot. My father and my mom are really into Looney Tunes, and a lot of my uncles were into that as well, because it's a cartoon that they had growing up. And Wacky Races is a Hanna-Barbera production, so it's sort of along those same lines. I also watch the Laugh Olympics a lot, which is a very similar, I think it's in the same universe as Wacky Races. But the basic gist of this cartoon is that there's a bunch of racers, and every episode they race against each other, and I'm playing as a character called Muttley, and he is the sidekick of a racer called Dastardly. And Dastardly basically is he just messes everything up. He tries to sabotage all the other racers constantly, and instead of actually focusing on the race, and he basically comes in last place every single time because of it. His plans never really work out that well for him, and he should basically just focus on the race and he would win most of the time. And Muttley is sort of an original troll. I can't ever tell if he is trying to help Dastardly or if he intentionally screws up his plans. I'm not really sure which it is. But anyways, as far as this game goes, it's a pretty cool platformer. There's a lot of neat tricks you can do. The bomb power-up is really strong for attacking enemies. It has a huge range. It's got a really big hitbox, so you can just hit everybody with it. You can also power up and get that tail wag there, which basically makes you float like Princess. The other attack animation you have is a bark, which is not nearly as good. It basically shoots out straight in front of you, but the bomb is just superior in every way. There is one boss, I believe, that I do use the bark on, because the way the level is, I can't actually hit the boss with the bomb. But other than that, I just use the bomb the whole time and use the tail wag. The heart power-up at the bottom there, it just gives you an extra heart or refills your life depending on where you're at. If you're at full life and you use it, and you're at less than 6 hearts, it'll give you another heart. Otherwise, it'll just refill your life. As you can see, the bomb is super strong. Not really sure what I'm doing here. Cutting this one close. Alright, each boss usually has 2 forms, which is kind of cool. You fight the first boss with one pattern, and then the second time he's got a different pattern. But I don't know. It just seems kind of cool to add that into an NES game, because most of the time the bosses have one pattern. You learn it and then you just kill the boss every time. I suppose you're just learning a second pattern, but it tells you they spent some time thinking about this game, and it's programmed really, really well. The music's really good. I think the graphics are pretty great. It's probably one of my favorite platformers on the system, honestly. The only thing I wish this game had was the ability to play as more characters, because there's a ton of characters in Wacky Races that you could have played as. Also, just maybe a few more levels, because it is kind of a short game. A general strategy is to basically every time you pick up a bone, that little arrow moves to the next power-up. So you want to get to the boss with your power-up on the heart so that you can refill your life during the boss. But they put all the bones in really weird places, and a lot of times it's impossible to avoid them. So it actually moves your power-up into a place where you don't want it to be. So you have to be careful. See, right now I have my power-up where I want it to be on the heart, but we'll see if it gives me a bone I can't avoid. So far, so good. I decided to just use it there because I had another stage. Refill my health. Now, there's always one bone in the boss level. Not gonna help me here though, because I need 2 to get full power up. Pretty easy boss fight there. The gems give you a free life at 100, so it's useful to collect those so you have some extra lives, but I'm going to stock up a ton of lives here. Because really this game isn't that hard, except for the boss fights. But once you learn the patterns, they're pretty easy as well, so I say most NES players could probably beat this game in a day, just playing, maybe even in an afternoon. As you can see, the tail wag makes the game a lot easier. See, like that bone there, it's impossible to avoid, and I actually killed myself on accident trying to avoid it, which is pretty silly. And when you die, you have to re-power up your guy, so I have to get the tail wag again, I have to get the bomb again. Dying is really bad in this game, especially on certain stages, because there's sometimes not a lot of bones in the stage. And if you don't have the right number of bones, you can't get the tail wag and the bomb power up back. That's specifically true on bosses. That's why there's a bone in every boss, so that you can get the bomb back every time if you need it. But on the boss where you need the bite power up, or the bark power up, that's pretty awkward if you die on him. Now this is still games that I recorded using my original setup, which is an original Nintendo, a CRT TV, and my HD PVR2. So this is, you know, not the HD version using the AVS. Those will be coming pretty soon. I'm running out of games that I recorded on the original setup, and then probably 20 on the new setup already. So. Yeah, you can actually just, you don't actually ever have to come up. You can just duck there and keep using the bomb. Now in the second form, you can't do that because he shoots the ground there, as you saw, but no big deal. We have a full heal if we need it. But I don't. Little cutscene there at the end of Section A. And we're moving on to Section B. And those are basically just different segments of the race. And each of these levels is supposed to represent a portion of the race. And each of the bosses is a guy that Muttley is sabotaging, basically. But as you can see, so far, nothing too complicated. I mean, obviously, anyone who's watched the show has seen me play much more difficult stuff, so it's a pretty easy one, and I wanted to get it out of the way because I was just trying to find games that I could beat quickly within a half an hour or so. Something to note that I found out yesterday is I was actually checking out the Mexican runner's information, and he actually has a lot more information about his run than I thought. So I was checking out his spreadsheet that has a ton of information in about what he's doing, and he has a bunch of win conditions for a lot of disqualified games that I have. So I've been trying to use his win conditions for those games. Some of the games that I've already recorded, he has different win conditions than I used. I may go back on some of those games and change, beat it using his condition as opposed to the one that I used, because the one that he used is most often more difficult than the one I used. But in some cases, it's really minor and probably doesn't matter much. But just something to note going forward. It's something I'm thinking about doing. Definitely games that I haven't recorded yet are going to use his win conditions, because I'm aware of them now. One of those games I just released was actually California Games. His win condition was to set the high score in every single event. I find that kind of moot, honestly, because no matter if you set the high score or not, you still complete the event and get the same ending. So that just seems like something, I don't know, showboating a little bit, I guess, or more of a completionist thing than an end screen. And keep in mind that my quest is a little bit different than his NES Mania is in sort of scope and purpose. So I think I'm probably going to leave California Games as it is. Well, that was unfortunate. Now I can't heal myself. Alright, moving on to B2. This is an underwater stage. The swimming controls very, very good. Basically, I don't have to tap A or anything like that. There's no momentum up and down. I just use up, down, left, and right like I do normally, and I swim around. I personally prefer that control system to something like you would see in Mario 3 or Mario 1. Nothing too complicated here. probably shouldn't have got those 2 bones there, because there's probably going to be more, but I guess we'll see what happens. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of curious what the speedrun time on this game is. I didn't even look. I'll have to check that out after I'm done recording this. Why I didn't get that second bone, I have no idea. There's probably not going to be another bone. But there's one in the boss, I guess. This is a pretty straightforward boss, too. Once you start shooting, it actually gets a lot harder. Another boss down. Moving on to section B3. The game starts to get harder at this point. It puts more difficult jumps in. The bosses get a little bit more difficult. The enemies have attack patterns that are a little more difficult to predict. So, the difficulty does scale up slightly, but not very much. The first time you play this level might kind of punch you in the face, because you've been kind of lulled to sleep for the first section of the game. But I have 11 lives now, so I think I'm safe. Yep, nothing I could do there. Had to fill up my 1 heart because I was going to pick up that bone anyways. I guess I can't get one. I tried to sneak 1 bone in there. It's kind of annoying sometimes when your bombs hit walls. As you can see there, if I'm holding the bomb above my head and there's a wall above me, it'll just crash into the wall. So you have to be kind of careful with that. But it only happens in a few spots in the game, like in this section specifically. Oh, I almost hit that bone there. That would have been a disaster. Alright, we're moving on to Section C of the race. The final section. So Dashley got captured by desperados while trying to cheat and cut off the other racers using a secret pass. And Muttley has to rescue him from the desperados. And that's the kind of stuff that would happen in the show. He would cheat and sabotage and get way ahead, and then something would happen. Muttley would mess something up, or like that, falling in the water there. Or yeah, he would mess something up, or desperados would capture him, or just something would happen. I accidentally got the bow power up there. I do not want that. Alright, and we're gonna go back to full power mode, which is tail wag and bomb. This level has sort of a gimmick to it. Those clouds are kind of bouncy. They're kind of like the pogo jumps in Mario. And so you just kind of bounce around. The bark power-up is a little bit better in this section than the bomb because of the walls, but I'm so used to the bomb now it doesn't even really matter. I'm debating going up and getting those bones. I decide not to. It's not really worth it when you have 15 lives. Make that 16. Oh, by the way, you have to bounce. You can't stop bouncing. It just bounces you constantly. You don't have to like hit a jump or anything. It just does it automatically. I did not actually know that that guy shoots. That is a pretty easy boss. Only a couple more sections, guys. Sorry there's not much to say here, but it's a pretty simple game, and it's just a basic platformer, really, so... As far as Steve's Quest goes, there's definitely more episodes coming, obviously. And I've got a bunch of HD stuff coming from the AVS. I'm gonna get to 150 episodes pretty quickly here. I'd say probably by the end of this week. At least 150 uploaded. I have even more than that recorded already. Also, if Michelle is watching, Beetlejuice is coming probably tomorrow. I have the video recorded. I finally completed it. I just don't know when I'm going to actually release it. I wanted to do it today, but I'm probably not going to have time to do that today. It'll probably be tomorrow. So this level is sort of interesting. The enemies are kind of troll. The cat enemy there is really, really difficult to get away from. And these plants kind of do random things. Sometimes they jump up and down, sometimes they jump back and forth. And the reason why those cats are difficult to avoid is because they stay very, very low to the ground, so it's hard to attack them with stuff, especially the bomb. Alright, looks like this racer is just a truck full of guys, but that's the kind of stuff that Hanna-Barbera makes, really. And honestly, I miss this sort of animation style. I really liked Hanna-Barbera when I was young. Something I found out recently that I did not know is that Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, used to work for Hanna-Barbera before he started Family Guy, which is why a lot of their first seasons had a lot of Hanna-Barbera references and characters in the show. Alright, section C-3 looks like it's a Wild West theme. And I'm not really sure where these people are racing at, but they just go through all kinds of stuff. There's like an ice section and a Wild West section. It's a pretty cool race, honestly. As you can see now, I'm just leaving one-ups behind because I just have so many lives. It doesn't even really matter. A game this kind of reminds me of is a game called Wampum, which is a really cool platformer that I played as a kid. I definitely want to get playing that soon. I basically, what I'm doing right now is I have two lists of games. I have a queue list of games that I definitely want to do soon, and those games are shorter games or have some sort of gimmick or something like that. And then I have a list of personal games, of games that I just find fun or I played as a kid that I really want to do. And Wampum is on that list of personal games. Now, once I get Beetlejuice uploaded and recorded, I'm going to start working on my friend Brad's request list. And I'm going to work through that entire list and before I go back to doing anything of my own. At least that's the hope. I might mix some in here and there, depending on what his availability is, but that's my plan as of right now. I remember this guy being really difficult. Yeah. He just kind of goes in a pattern that I don't like. The second pattern is way harder, and you'll see that. And also, I do not have a life power up here, so I have to be really careful. Yeah, see, he sort of jumps towards the second platform there. If you don't jump correctly, oh, this is not good. Yep. Saw that coming. That was actually my first boss death. I assure you I'm going to do much better this time. And there's that guy. Alright, final section of the game. I know you're excited. I'm excited too. Now you would think they'd ramp up the difficulty a bit in the final section, but it's really not that bad. The annoying thing about these Easter Island heads is that they lag the game quite a bit. Also to note, that giant boulder, you can't actually kill it, you just have to avoid it. But pretty easy to avoid. Yeah, the best strategy on the Easter eggs is just to kill them as soon as possible to prevent the lag. I'm taking a lot of damage here. A little bit nervous for myself. Well, it looks like I'm at the end of the stage, so. Alright, I've filled up my health. Now let's see if we can get to the boss. I filled up my health there probably because I feel like there's going to be enough bones to get back to the full power-up. And I'm probably right. Again, sorry for those graphics glitches. I found out it's not actually in my video recording files. It's actually this computer. Sometimes it just can't handle the OBS streaming software that I'm using to record this episode, but it's a small thing, and eventually I'll have some new equipment here in a month or two, so that jump's actually probably the hardest thing in the game. Alright, last boss, Captain Caveman. I believe Captain Caveman had his own cartoon as well, and that's his son. I definitely watched that cartoon as a kid. This pattern is really annoying because he shoots that club at you, and it just goes in a really weird pattern. And that is it, guys. That is Wacky Races on the NES. Hope you enjoyed the ending. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next game.